Hi folks, Mark Federic, Le Chocolat Anglais. I'll try and keep this brief, famous last word, sorry, at my Q&A. What are the best hams for Christmas? And that comes in from Cedric. I actually know Cedric. So thanks for the question, Cedric. Best hams for Christmas. Well, obviously the traditional ones, and but one that's always at the forefront of my mind, and I'm aiming this answer at the farmers who may fall upon this video Q&A sessions that I do. I'm aiming this at you, the farmers, all right? This is a way to make a little bit of extra cash. And God only you need it, all right? For especially those of you in UK, crikey, are you being? Anyway, that's politics. So here I want to throw a bit of a helpline out, and particularly those farmers amongst you or small breeders, all right? If you're into native traditional breeds, this is really for you, because this is where it'll work best. And that is, let me use Herdwick sheep as an example, all right? They are sheep who predominantly can only give birth to one lamb, all right, singles. A lot of other sheep breeds, they do twins, they do triplets and so forth. That's not really aimed at that style of farming. But those who've got a bit of a niche where you're into traditional breeds, and I applaud you, well done, like the Herdwick, and is create, where possible, it's easy for me to say, I know, it's where possible, create a relationship with local butchers with your product, because immediately Herdwick sheep is a fantastic product in its own right, and where it really comes into its own and puts it at the top of the tree, all right, is with when and if you can do this. Sell your lambs to your local butchers, but very often butchers only need like the middle part of the lamb, which is like, you know, the cutlets and the chops. They can sell more of those than they can legs and shoulders and things like this. There's two things you can do, but one is not a ham, but and one is buy back the shoulder and buy back the giggles, you know, the back legs. But I just get rid of the shoulders. The shoulders can make great sausage. But they've got a perfect meat-fat ratio, and they can go straight in for spicy like a Megwez, which you can smoke if you want, and other sausages also. All right, but let's clear that part away about sausages and come back to the back legs. And this will make the butchers happy if they've got because they can't always sell the back legs, you know, but they can sell more of the chops. So you could buy some of those back, you know, strike up your own thing. Or maybe you just stick to the ham. Maybe I should just stick to the ham, talk about the ham. All right. Cure it. Cure the legs. Get them back home and cure them. And turn them into mutton ham. So now, mutton is obviously a sheep over 2 years old, okay? And but no matter whether you use mutton, hogget or lamb, with the back leg, if you're making a ham, it's best described as mutton ham, albeit it can be lamb, all right? It's a bit more difficult to sell descriptively lamb ham. It doesn't quite work, but mutton ham, it stands out. It's got, you know, it's got power. So always call it mutton ham and sell it as such. Now, the way I would cure it, I would dry cure these, because you're starting off with a fantastic product, you know, and I consider Herdwicks to be up here in sheep terms. I know there's people going to knock me for that, but just bear with me. And so keep everything else at that level. So go for dry curing. Now you can do this using vac bags, so that's not a problem. And put your dry cure measure in there. So for mutton ham, you just want to sweeten it up a little bit. So a sweet dry cure would work well, and that would be best using a lovely brown sugar of some kind. It could be natural cane, raw cane sugar, all right, mixed with curing salt, and that could be a 50-50 mix, all right. So put that in and create your ham. Now, a leg I would dry cure it for a minimum of 10 days, but 3 weeks is my preferred curing time. Okay, then you take it out, then you cook it, or if it's in a vac bag, it could remain in the vac bag actually, and you just cook it sous vide to the right temperature, anything between 68 to 73. I know the environmental health officers will want you to cook it like 73 above. Just say, if they ask you, say, yeah, I cook it at 73 above, but to get best results, nice moist, 68 is okay. But you didn't hear that from me. So yeah, and then obviously once it's chilled down, and especially if it's boned out and then you're slicing it, you've got the Rolls Royce of hams. And with the flavour of a Herdwick and the flavours of these traditional native breeds, it really comes out. It's so unique. I can tell you, it's got to be 20 years ago, I went to the meat hall of Harrods in London, and I came across mutton ham for the very first time. Then, 20 years ago, they were getting £90 a kilo. Unbelievable, isn't it? £90 a kilo 20 years ago. I know that's Harrods, so you're going to be paying top dollar, so, based on that, find your groove and find a price that best suits you, okay, and set accordingly. Even if you only do it for Christmas, all right, and now's the time to be doing it. It's September. Now's the time to be thinking about it, practicing it, and having a go. Get some hard-earned cash. So that would be one of my favourites, and the stuff you can serve it with. I mean, it'll go down a treat with things like cranberry at the side of it. For God's sake, God, this is a marriage, isn't it? Mutton ham, and you only need thin slices. You don't need a lot of it, and so other than that, you can go for all the other hams, but mutton ham would definitely be one of my Christmas favourites. And as I've just said, I would love it if you farmers jump on this and start thinking, yeah, I can make a little bit of cash here for this time period of the year. So yeah, this fits in with with Christmas and hams. Other hams, well, again, particularly boneless, you're better off with the back legs of pigs. And again, if you're choosing rare breeds, native breeds, you're going to get something, really, really, really special. Use the same methods, dry curing, because that's the best. You could wet cure if you want to, and but what you have to consider is wet curing is Ford Mondeo. Nothing wrong with a Ford Mondeo. Dry curing is a Bentley. All right, look at it that way. So wet curing is quicker, but it's less. There's less consistency, shall we say. It's not always thorough. Not always. But, the famous Wiltshire bacon was wet cured, by the way. Nothing wrong with Wiltshire bacon, bloody nice in fact. But so that's how you've got to see it. And then with wet curing, you've always got to make sure your meat is totally submerged under the water. So you need some form of cover or weight to keep your meat, whatever you're using, underneath a level of water. And there I would use a recipe like, again, you can use sweet as well if you want, 50 grams per litre of water used, all right? And you don't have to heat up these brines and get all the salt dissolved and all that palaver like you see a lot of chefs doing on telly. All right, you can add it cold. Just make sure when you're mixing it around that it's all dissolved. It's as simple as that. That way you can use it straight away. So so you can do that. And again, do it for you know, certain period of time. So it wants to be, you know, 2 to 3 weeks, especially if it's a big leg of pork. And dry curing. If you haven't got a vacuum packer, don't worry. You could use a bin liner, a new one, obviously. If you can get something food grade, even better. But you could put it in a plastic bag, okay? And then if you have a large bucket or container of water, you hold the bag and allow the meat to sink slowly in the water, okay? And as you do, the water equalizes and pressures against the bag with the ham inside, and it forces the air out at the top like that. So it acts like a vacuum packer in a way, and then just make sure you tie off your bag, and that will get the majority of the air out. Because the less air around the meat at the time is better. It's a good technique. There are other forms of curing where you can just put your hams straight into a deep bed of salt and things like this. But then you've got a lot of recovery to do afterwards by washing the salt out of the hams. Well, you know, the method I just said a few minutes ago saves all that, okay? And again, using 50 grams if it's a sweet cure, if it's mixed in with you know, sugar and salts. Otherwise, if there's no sugar in it, then stick to 30 grams per kilo of meat, all right, when you're dry curing it. And you just rub it in like a good massage, like you would with a nice lady friend. You know, make sure you cover all those nice, you know, areas and give it a spank now and again. So, so yeah, so a little bit about hams, but let's finish with mutton ham, all right? Farmers, try it. You'll be helping the butchers out. Then they don't have to fire out and sell so many legs or use them for other things, at which like degrades the price. You know, get them cured up, sell as mutton ham. Maybe you can cure them, sell them back to the butcher. How's that? So you know, earn yourself some extra money for Christmas, and get them sold. If you want a bit more help about it, and if you've got further questions, message me privately and I'll do my best to help you out, all right? So in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the video. Go down into the information, like and share all that nonsense if you wish. But please, buy me a coffee, all right? You're under no pressure, but I'll say thank you. And, you know, it'll go a long way to the cost of this video making and for fundraising. So until the next time, toodaloo.